get started with something a little bit more elaborate, and this time we are going to import an external foreign 3D object, not one of our trees that we had already included with PD Howler or Project Dogwaffle's PD Artist, but instead we're going to download a 3D model, such as the ones from NASA's website. And there are plenty in a variety of formats. There are some in 3D Studio format, some in Blender, growing number of them in Blender format. There's also STL, stereolithography, so you can print them, 3D printing. But actually they mention also somewhere that if you are 3D printing with color elements, they recommend OBJ. So a number of these formats, a number of these elements here, space rockets and even planets and various moons, some landing sites, like lunar surfaces. There's a variety of craters, Martian landscapes, some galaxies as 3D objects, and the space shuttle, the Hubble Space Telescope, and so on. So I'm gonna get one that we currently can load. Not all of these will load currently in OBJ, in Howler. So we're working on looking at what we can do to improve a few of those. But there's one here, a high poly and a low poly mobile launcher. And so imagine this is mobile to the point where we can take that to Mars or to a lunar surface or some other planet or a moon, and we create a 3D landscape, and then we want to add that to it to make it complete, right? Well, it's not complete when there is a rocket that's missing, but maybe that's after the launch. And again, on the theme of left behind, the crew, the rest of the crew already left, the rocket is no longer there, but we still have this model. So I'm going to say thanks to whoever created that. I always encourage people to do what I do, which is to read up on the background, the company, the mission, who was involved. Was it Northrop Grumman? Was it Lockheed Martin? Was it, a variety, Raytheon? There's a variety of companies involved, and thousands of people, engineers and graphic designers and project managers and so on. And it's always, I think it's really cool to kind of feel part of that and be part of that. Part of their dream too, not just paying the bills, right? Getting the kids to school and having some food on the table at the end of the day. But what we'll do here is put some food for thought. Let's go download this zip file, and I'm going to get this in. In fact, here's just my regular downloads folder. I have tons of these already. I think I have that one already as well. MLP, you'll probably see it here. Well, let's just save it and it will tell us. Oh no, look at that. It's a new download. I had downloaded it and maybe moved it somewhere else. So I'm going to open it here, show in folder. And then at that point, I can take it over to where I really need it, because this is just a download folder, but I have a place where I keep all my models and I sort them by whether they are working, ready to use, or if there's some glitches, maybe the colors don't show up right, or maybe there's a bug and something doesn't display. We currently only do triangles. So if you have polygons that are like four-sided or more, some of it or all of it might be missing. Sometimes you have a 3D model where there is a mix of triangles and a mix of other polygons and other elements too. There could be lines, there could be NURB surfaces, there could be a variety of graphic primitives. Our parser doesn't handle everything, and our renderer doesn't handle everything either. So it's all tied together to what we needed for the trees initially, and now there's a lot of work to be done to gradually expand it to other formats, to other content. But let's see this one here. If we right-click that and say extract all, maybe just in the same folder, and then go, actually I didn't check this box here, but we should, yep, there it is. There's the OBJ version of that. And that should be usually a file or two. One is an OBJ file, the other one is a matching MTL, material file. And that's all we need to see if we can display it or load it. Now we can also just wait for the preview here in Windows. I have the preview enabled. Remember, you can do that from the view menu. Sometimes it's on the left side. Depends on which version of Windows you have and which tool you use here to navigate. If it's just a window or the full Windows Explorer, show the preview pane. I have that checked, so I should see a preview here, but for some reason it takes a little bit long here and I'm not sure what it's waiting for or trying. But if I double click it, it's opening it in 3D viewer, And so that way we get a, a faster idea of what it's going to look like, right? So this is our structure that should also have a maybe a Saturn V rocket or some SpaceX rocket nowadays, and we want to add that as a composition into the 3D rendered landscape. And in fact, if we load this as a brush, we can have it in different angles, snapshot it as a brush, do another one, do another one, do another one, and so basically have a whole bunch of images of it in different brush images. And then we'll see what else we can do with that. So this is good. This one here is another one. This one's the regular, or maybe this one's higher. I don't know. Oh no, that's the base, the block. There's sort of a concrete block underneath it, right? So you typically would want both of these. Let's see what we can do. Let's switch over to Howler. So here we go. I'm going to load oh, it's still loading my presets, my others here. So I'm going to load the, where is it? Filter, render. It's now here. This is still a pre-release version. Render geometry from the render menu. And it builds a list of all the folders you have. Now I'm going to minimize this, and I should see, if I scroll up here somewhere, I should see my downloads. There it is. Double click that to open it. And I'm not sure if it'll be in alphabetic order or in most recently seen. What was the name of that thing anyway? All right, I should see here in a heartbeat, or I should not. Downloads. Yeah, I should come prepared tonight. There, OBJ, this one here. All right, so there is one file and the other file, right? One is sort of the structure block underneath it. Let's take a look at that one. Yep, there it is. That loads in, and I have it by default in wireframe here. Let's go in shaded mode, and it's very dark, so that might be a little bit difficult to work with, but if we increase the ambient light, maybe we get a little bit of at least not complete black. Light number 1, we can make it brighter. Light number 2, we can make it the maximum. And then, yeah, it's still pretty dark. So there's something with this model where it's not actually taking the normal vectors, or something is missing with that. That's okay. We can probably use it fine nevertheless if it's far away, that we really don't care. We just need to have a little blob or something there. The big important part is going to be the other one. So I'm going to keep this one for now in the brush, maybe at an angle, something like this. And snap it. Boom. So now it's in the brush, and I can go store that under this menu, brush menu, and store it. And so now I have this image here. And the next thing I want to do is, and by the way, it looks a little bit bigger here. It's the distortion because it's not the same aspect ratio in the preview. But it will be fine. I think if we enable the preview here somewhere with the eye, yeah, we can see it's the same thing. It's just a little bit smaller also, so adjust the size there. So that's basically what we have now in the brush. All right, let's go clear that and disable the distraction here. Let's go load the next one, which is the bigger structure, tall. So that's under render. Let's go back to render geometry, and this time instead of this one, I think we want this one. Double click that, and there you go. All right, so this one, hopefully we will have some better success. Nope. Okay, so it was the other. Remember, we saw two different versions, a high resolution and a low resolution version. For some reason, this high resolution version doesn't seem to shade. I don't know where. We will have to investigate. The other one did actually give us some lighting effects, some shading. But you know what? I'm going to be forgiving here, and I'm just going to take this anyway. Maybe I'll need a different angle or not. You know, I can easily set this here to 0 and give it back to the. It would be nice to have a reset button actually to make it a precise 0, because clearly my oh, if I click it maybe. No. Okay, so that was just an accidental lucky move here when I got to 0 exactly. I think that would actually be an interesting one if you just click it without moving to have it set back to reset it to 0. Little inside trick. I don't know if we can do that, but ideally you would be able to even, oh, there it is. So I got it to 0. And what I want to do is maybe move in a little bit to get the maximum size. And that's if I want to just render it now, right? Because if I had an image in the background and I wanted to just composite that, then that would be the way to do it, to just position it here, angle it, and be done with it. But in this case here, I'm going to do a couple of other things. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to move it back away. So the perspective is not quite that strong. And it's almost more like an orthographic projection. And that's how you can arrange it in this view. But if you don't really need it here, you might want it in the brush. So click Make Brush, and now we have it in the brush, and we can store that brush too. Store and manage a copy. So now we have 2 brush images. If we click here, we paint with this. If we click here, we paint with that. Or with the right button, it will be the alternate color. We have 2 colors here, black and white. So I'm going to set it to single click mode, and you can see you can single click that now. All right, so how do we use that? Well, typically we load our 3D image that we have created or rendered before. Maybe something like this, or something like this, or it's not even done yet, but let's just take this one as an example. And here's, I'll grab this brush, I'll enable the preview. And so now all I need to do is adjust the size, and maybe I want it down here or on the rock or on the, this looks a little bit big. That mountain is farther away, so it looks a little bit big. So I might want to reduce the size, and you can do that either immediately here. It might look a little bit, actually this is pretty good. There you go. Yeah, I might just place it right there. Okay, 1 click to get the attention, 1 click to actually place it there. Let's undo that. And boom, there you go. You know, and so that's the beauty of it. You can have a couple of these now. If you needed to have like a whole launch region, you know, an area for liftoff. Maybe a big close one here too, where we only see a portion of it. I don't know, maybe it's down here. And I'm sure we could actually paint them right all over there. So we could make them really tiny small here. And have a whole bunch, like along this island here, have a whole bunch of those. Something like this size. And then we just need to set it in, not in stamp mode, but paint mode, and set the step distance a little bit bigger. Because something like this, yeah, that's too close still. Getting there though. So step distance a little bit more like this. Yeah, that's good. And then we just boom, have a whole bunch of them right down there. All right, so, and of course there's always one right in the foreground. So let's go back to this original one here and see what that one looks like if you have them full size, and maybe even make it bigger, go to 150% or something like that. So you have just part of that there. And again, we may want to go to the stamp mode rather than the paint mode. So let's say something like this. That looks cool. No, not yet. Now we have it. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching. That's step number 2, how to start getting some 3D into your paintings or sketches or drawings or another 3D rendering. Combine that in a couple of ways. And we'll see you next time.